We're going to be counting down Big Cat's Super Bowl storylines, and we're going to start with number 5. It relates to a certain head coach who is coming back to a certain place where he spent a certain amount of time as a youth. Take it away, Big Cat.
So, Mike, you are the journalist here. Chris and I watch the X's and O's, but journalists usually bury every single Super Bowl storyline to the point where we don't want to hear about it anymore. So I'm pre-burying it before we even get to Atlanta. Let's just hammer home these storylines.
So we don't have to hear it anymore?
Exactly.
Okay.
Sean McVay is from Georgia. That is a fact. He won the 2003 Georgia State Player of the Year over Calvin Johnson.
Amazing.
Won a state title in the Georgia Dome, which is obviously not around anymore.
Right.
He dominated high school football in the state of Georgia, so we as journalists have to talk about it nonstop and remind everyone at every point when we're in Atlanta that Sean McVay is in fact from Georgia.
Yes, he's the natural apparently, and This is the great homecoming story of a great high school legend.
Yes.
I actually am surprised. I did not know he was this good of a football player, and all you had to say to me was he beat out Calvin Johnson, and you had me sold right there.
That's it right there, and there also is the storyline that Sean McVay played against Julian Edelman in college, Miami versus Toledo. Julian Edelman was, of course, a quarterback, Sean McVay a wide receiver. So we have that as a little ancillary storyline from Sean McVay's football career.
So basically, you're getting ahead of these storylines now because they're going to be everything that we hear about all of next week when we're all in Atlanta, where Sean McVay coincidentally happened to be a football star as a youth.
That's where it all started for Sean
We'll have
McVay.
more of that coming up here on PFT Live. It's another Big Cat Super Bowl storyline. Big Cat, what do you got at number 4?
So, Sony Michel played at the University of Georgia. If you remember, his last game as a Bulldog was in the Mercedes-Benz Dome?
That's right.
Where they don't serve Chick-fil-A on Sundays. It was in this dome, and it was the house of horrors for him because Alabama famously comes back in the game. Georgia has a lead 20-10 in the fourth quarter. Tua comes in and steals the national championship from the Georgia Bulldogs. So Sony Michel, a homecoming of sorts for him. And we just have to just basically pile up all the homecomings so that you have something to talk about all week, Mike.
Well, and I hadn't even thought of that one because I don't pay nearly as much attention to college football as I do to the NFL. So thank you for giving me that in advance. I will be able to ask all guests next week when we're down at Radio Row for PFT Live about Sony Michel coming back to Georgia. Worlds are colliding. He's coming back to Georgia, to kind of eradicate a negative thing. Sean McVay coming back to Georgia to advance a positive. And somebody is going to be happy and somebody is going to be sad. And one more thing about McVay that we didn't talk about earlier. I think we talked about it during the break. The idea that McVay actually attended Super Bowl 34 with his dad or something like that, and they got stuck in the ice storm. And I'm surprised that hasn't made your list.
It's not on the list.
Cat.
It's not on the list.
The ice storm.
I wanted to set you up so that you could get a couple.
Smart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good job, Mike.
The
Way
ice
to
storm.
report there.
Right. We got to be there. We need to be checking the forecast. There could be another ice storm.
We're getting you a few early, easy throws. Okay, I mean you talk about it all the time. Script a couple plays, easy completions.
You feel good.
Yeah, you feel like a real journalist right now, Mike.
I do. I feel like I have full credentials, unlike some, and I will be able to. Do we know anything about your credentials for the Super Bowl? Are you going to be able to get in?
We don't know yet. Roger hasn't sent you any via FedEx or anything yet?
Last year we saw there was a little piece of paper at Radio Row, and it had all of our names on it. It said, do not credential these 3 people. So it was PFT, Hank, and myself.
Yeah.
And I would assume that it's going to be similar this year.
Yeah, keep that riff-raff out of there. These guys, you can't control them. But seriously, though, the Sony Michel thing's pretty awesome. That he's going back to, exercise the demons of the national championship. And then, he's the man right now. I mean, come on, the New England Patriots, we want to talk about Tom Brady and Belichick, and they're awesome, don't get me wrong. But they literally play through the running game right now that we saw, again, on the AFC Championship. It is about Sony Michel running between the tackles and everything off of that. So that's a pretty cool story for him as a rookie to be a part of this.
See? The stories work.
I'm waiting for one on the ice storm, and there's one other storyline that goes back to the last Atlanta Super Bowl that I hope is not on your list. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but let's just leave it right there, and we'll be back with more PFT Live right after this.
Number 52.
Time for storyline number 3 from Big Cat, a fake storyline that by some radio hosts may be considered as a real storyline. Take it away, Big Cat.
Well, Todd Gurley seemingly has the referees in his pocket because you see the famous, it's famous in soccer in Europe where they swap jerseys. Sometimes in football they do it. But Todd Gurley swapped jerseys with the ref after the game. This is a real picture.
Totally unethical by the referees.
Totally unethical by the referees. I cannot believe he did this. So the storyline will be, will Todd Gurley still have the refs in his pocket, and is he mad at CJ Anderson because he didn't get enough carries, like Mike has said?
That's the better storyline. I appreciate the use of the very real photo of Bill Vinovich and Todd Gurley swapping jerseys, something that actually did happen on the field after the game, even though Bill Vinovich apparently showed up with 2 jerseys, one that he gave to Todd Gurley and one that he was still wearing in the photo, which is kind of amazing. I mean, maybe those things are so tight you can just layer them.
Yep.
But the Todd Gurley CJ Anderson thing is going to be real, because think about it. All the media availabilities, whether it's the 1 hour on Monday night, whether it's all the various other times that these guys have to answer questions, they parade them in front of microphones all week long. You know it's going to be asked about Todd Gurley. Is Todd Gurley upset that CJ Anderson's getting these reps? Is he healthy? Is he not healthy? Why didn't they play him more? That's not going away, and that is going to be something that dominates all of these press conferences that start as soon as they get to town on Sunday night, guys.
Hey, he's going to go off in the Super Bowl. He's a talented player. He's more talented than CJ Anderson. I do think it's hilarious that there was a certain New York radio host that really thought that was a real picture. Like, he couldn't believe that the referee did that.
It is a real picture.
It's a real picture.
But the other thing is this. I got to give Todd Gurley, at least he called himself out after the game. He said he played like crap.
He said he was sorry.
He said he was sorry. Like that's refreshing this day and age from the millennials, where they just take the responsibility and deal with it.
You're a millennial.
I'm like borderline.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
old school and hard.
millennials.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
We got more PFT Live right after this.
Super Bowl box from Sean McVay for birthday week. In a ring.
Yeah.
And maybe we get to go to the party?
And we get
Let's
to
put it
call
this way. The first
if we're
play of the
ever
game.
having that conversation, the only thing maybe you went a little too far with was the first play of the game, but everything else I can go with.
Okay, fair.
Last play of the game.
Fair.
Kneel down.
Yeah, all right.
You got that.
Done.
I
All
like
right.
that.
That's Big Cat, my internet son PFT commenter, with Sean McVay in the back of their van before the season started. And I don't think this is actually going to be a storyline next week. I think this is wishful thinking on your part to get Sean McVay to honor the promise to put you in a box, give you a ring, and possibly call the first play.
I wouldn't trust you with the first play.
Listen,
I know that.
Well, I wouldn't trust myself, because I've already stated that if I did have the first play, I would have Jared Goff run backwards into the end zone for a safety, and I'd bet all the money that I have and can collect on first play safety. But, Mike, you are so wrong, because we're on NBC Sports right now, and it's a storyline. Look at that. Look at that. It says Sean McVay owes podcasters a Super Bowl suite, ring, and possibly first play call. I am reading that literally off NBC Sports. I have just incepted the storyline. I knew you were going to do that. You played right in my hands.
Right.
You said there's no way that's going to be a storyline. Boom, it's a storyline.
I mean, it's a lot they're asking. I mean, PFT and Big Cat. I mean, they're asking for a suite, a ring in the first play, and they jam the guy in the back of the car, and they're sitting there rubbing thighs together. I mean, that's what he gets out of this?
Robin's racing. Love it.
Well, but it's smart. You ask for everything, and then if you get anything, it's more than you were otherwise going to get. It's good negotiation. You start high, and if you just get the ring out of it, it's a pretty good day.
Yes.
First, they got to win the Super Bowl. We'll be back with more right after this. Continuing with Big Cat's Super Bowl storylines, the number one storyline we'll be hearing for the next 11 days. Take it away, Big Cat.
It is the number one storyline you'll be hearing. I can guarantee you that, Mike, you will write many blogs on it. The Patriots started this dynasty run against the Rams in the Super Bowl. They are back against the Rams in the Super Bowl, and it's however many years later, 19, 18 years later. Will this be the retirement tour for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick? I don't think so. But I think it's actually something that's worthy of throwing out there, because if Tom Brady wins this game, what else does he have to prove?
Right.
Walk out, do the John Elway, and just go off into the sunset.
I hear that. I mean, the only thing I could say that like he has left to prove is maybe he just wants to one-up Michael Jordan to become that guy with like 7 championships.
Michael Jordan never lost in the finals.
I know, you're right. I know, but I'm just saying that's maybe the one thing.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like, it doesn't need to end. Brady still has the 100-mile-per-hour fastball like we've seen, and it's amazing what we've talked about and what they've done through this whole streak.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I'll be on the record. I do not think Tom Brady is going to retire, but it's worthy of just throwing out there. And it's also the bookend of how long this has lasted, starting with the Rams. Now we're back in 2019.
McVay couldn't even drink alcohol.
He was at the game.
They were in the Super Bowl.
And he was at the game.
Right, that's amazing.
17 years to the day it'll be when they play in the Super Bowl in 53. It was 36 the last time around.
To the day?
And look, to the day.
Wow.
Which makes it even more fitting that Brady would win and walk away. Two factors with Brady, guys. One, his wife has been pushing this issue of walking away for a while now. She kind of jokingly, but I think kind of seriously, wanted him to retire after Super Bowl 51 when they came back from down 28-3. And also, in Big Cat, we've talked about this before on Pardon My Take, the idea that Brady talks about playing to 45, so he never has a farewell year. So when he's done, he just says, I'm done. And they never go through that experience for him, for everyone. He doesn't want it to be about him, of that one last year. So he always has that stake so far out in the ground that you never realize it's his last year until his last year is over. That could end up being this year if they win.
And then on the flip side, the part of me that says this probably won't be his last year is that I think he genuinely wants to not only play football for more years, but he wants to create this TB12 and the gyms across America, and the diet and all this stuff that he's doing.
Yeah,
it significantly hampers him if he stops playing football.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some truth to that. TB12, I mean, what he's doing in that along those lines, it is special. It's amazing, really, what he's doing altogether. What were you going to say, Mike? Go ahead.
No, he's the living, breathing billboard for TB12. And the longer he plays, the more he proves that these methods work because he keeps getting older and he keeps playing well.
Yep.
And that would be a reason to go to 42, 43, 44, 45, and who knows, maybe even beyond that.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.